Okay, hello everybody. I'm going live on Instagram and I'm filming at the same time on a camera and a mic because I over-curate everything, and this bit of content is going to go out as a YouTube video and a podcast because I'm a genius, but it does make it a little bit harder to manage, so we'll see how we go. In this episode, in this live, I'm going to share with you some really cool ideas you can try and a whole new perspective that you can take on around selling, because there are quite a few people at the moment who are telling me that they're not selling, they've been trying to sell, they can't figure things out, they feel disheartened. I've heard that so many times. And the weird thing is, like, listening to people, their reaction is to stop. They'll say, I'm going to take the month off. And if any of you are listening to this thinking, I said that to her, you're not the only one. People's reaction to something not going how they thought it was going to go or not getting the result they wanted to get, people's reaction to that is to stop and pull back, and it's the worst thing you can do. So I'm going to give you 3 ideas that you might not have tried yet and a bit of a new perspective on selling, because I bet you're a good person and I bet you've got an amazing offer. Your problem isn't the offer, it isn't delivery, it isn't the fact that you're willing and want to help. The problem is you don't know sales and marketing. And I'm going to be so blunt and direct and harsh and tell you that because selling is not your right. Social media makes us think that selling is our right and we should all have a side hustle and we should all have a business. Selling and sales and marketing and online funnel marketing and social media, they are highly technical skills. And the people who are successful at selling to you, I'm going to say people like me and the other people that you buy from, they have been at this for decades, like a decade, 2 decades, whatever. They have committed to figuring out who the customer is, what the hook is, exactly how to position an offer, how to nurture, how to add value, how to prove credibility. And if you want any proof in this, before I had this business, I ran a marketing agency for, I can't remember how long now, 4 or 5 years, and took it to $500,000 before I shut it down and said, I'm going to do online education. And then, I popped up and I knew how to market and sell. No, I'd already done hundreds of thousands in sales in traditional businesses before I came online. So all I had to do was adapt and obviously go through the whole thing of what is my purpose and trusting myself to share that. But all I had to do was shift everything I knew about people, marketing, selling, influencing, adding value. And instead of pitching and PowerPoint decks and networking events, which is what I did, I had to shift it to, can I sell it in a webinar? Can I sell it in Instagram? But I understood the concepts. And I think this is a lot of what really good-hearted, spiritual, purpose-driven people don't know. Again, I'm going to say it's not your fault, because online people make it look easy, and I hope I've never done that. My message has always been it takes 2 to 4 years of dedicated, consistent work to get good at this. And it isn't just about getting good at your craft, it's about getting good at marketing and selling. These are highly technical skills. If you haven't cracked it and it isn't working and you haven't figured it out, let yourself off the hook in one sense, but don't let yourself off the hook in the sense of you need to keep at it and you need to keep learning and trying. So I'm going to give you 3 ideas that I think will really shift your perspective and give you something to focus on over the summer. And if all you watch in this episode, this video, is this, please do not take the summer off. Don't think, I know what I'll do, I'll take the summer off and I'll come back at it in September. And here's why. It's the most important thing I'm going to tell you before we get into the ideas. I know for a fact, and just listen and feel if you feel like this is intrinsically true, I know for a fact that people are going to buy in September. The 2 biggest times of the year for people to buy and people to sell well are September. Something happens at that change of season. People get in, they settle down, they want to learn a new thing. They're not distracted by the summer holidays, the sun, and all that good stuff. So September, and of course, guess when the next best time is? When people think, I'm going to change my life, I'm going to do something different. It's January. So September launches and January launches are some of the best launches you can do. Not to say you can't sell at other times of the year, of course you can. I sell every month, every week. It is critical to me, my business, my dreams, and that is my mindset and mentality. But I know there's something special about September and January. But listen to this. I always think about this. If somebody's going to buy from me in September, chances are they are not going to hear about me in that launch. They already have heard about me and I'm already on their radar. So in September, whatever I want to sell, it's probably going to be straight line through the big business course and maybe one-to-one coaching. If I want to sell those things in September, I can't wait until September to introduce myself to people and then begin building a relationship and build all that trust. I've got to be doing that now. So the people who are going to spend money in September, mark my words, the people who are going to spend money in September, they already have their eye on who that customer, they already have their eye on who that provider is, not the customer. They already have their eye on who the provider is. And it's not just one person. And just put in the comments if I'm right and you think I'm on the right track with this, if you have done this in your life as a buyer, as a consumer. You don't wake up, see somebody and go, boom, I'm going to buy from them. Maybe a micro course, a speed offer. But if it's a bigger investment of 300 quid, 500 quid, a grand, 5 grand, a car, something bigger, a holiday, you're eyeing things up and you will have 2 or 3 key providers. Even for thinking about going on a holiday, you will have a couple of locations in mind and you're asking friends and family until you make the decision. If you're going to buy from somebody and choose somebody as your coach, chances are there are 2 or 3 people you could name right now and think that person is aspirational for me. I'd love to work with them. That person's on my radar. I'm just weighing them up. And you might even have discovery calls with 2 of those or 3 of those people before you make the final decision. But going to a discovery call is so far beyond awareness. You're into consideration at that point. So you taking August off to recalibrate, to come back and sell in September is the most devastating thing you can do, because all of the people who are marketing and positioning and pre-positioning in August, they are going to win the customers in September. So I know there's the big risk of overworking, burnout, we've got to take a break. Yes, but you didn't ask for an easy life. You asked to be an entrepreneur. You asked for a crazy dream, which is to make hundreds of thousands of pounds selling to strangers effectively on the internet. So don't think you're going to take all of August off and saunter into some posts, some featured ads, some viral reels in September and your business is going to blow up. These things, these ideas do not correlate. Anybody who is successful, listen to them. They do not say, I got still, I waited, and everything happened. They don't say that. They tell you, I got up, I hustled, I worked late. So I know hustle culture and working hard is not sexy, and it's not very sellable, and people aren't into it. But you've got to face the facts and be like, the people who sell and the people who have businesses and the people I learn from, are they casual, are they chilled, or are they working hard? Are they showing up? Are they doing difficult things? Successful people do difficult things, bottom line. So don't be afraid if you're working hard. Don't be afraid if other people are chilling and you want to be back at your desk, crushing it and figuring it out, like I am, and I love it, okay? So let me know in the comments if that resonates, first of all. The people who are going to buy in September, they already know what their options are now. They may even have already made the decision. And come September, they're going on the webinar of the person they know. They're getting on discovery calls with the person they know. Your job in August is to get on their radar, to nurture that relationship and at least be one of the top 3 names that they can consider, okay? So I'll give you a few ideas, but before I get into the 3 things you've got to do, let me just tell you 2 more things. Did I already say that the answer to not selling can never be to stop? I already said that, didn't I? I'll tick it off. Then we won't get lost. The second one is, most of you are still learning. So if you've been in your market even for a year and you've been dedicating 12 hours a week or 3 days a week of like total time, you've got to ask, how many times did I attempt to sell? How much did I actually learn about who the customer is? Most of what people are doing is marketing. They're posting content, adding value, trying to get likes, trying to go viral. They're working on their webpage, working on their offers. I just built this amazing course called Marketing to Sell. You've probably seen me talking about it. It took me about 6 weeks, of non-stop work to do the slides, get the ideas, build the curriculum, film the content, edit the content, then I had to upload the content, then I had to add the notes, then I had to make the worksheets, and I've put it on another platform. It was so much work. And when I was finished, I wasn't actually finished. I hadn't even started. Once I was finished, I had to go, brilliant, now you've got something, go and sell it. And I think a lot of people think that they're working because they're doing that, and that isn't actually going to grow your business. It's critical, it's fundamental, but the real work begins when you actually try and make a sale, when you go out and every single bit of feedback, that sales post didn't work, that webinar didn't work, this got sign-ups to the webinar but nobody turned up, so that email didn't work. If you think of every tiny touch point and every micro bit of feedback, it's going into your brain and you're forming a web, you're figuring it out. So you've got to give yourself time, and I'm going to be honest and say 2 to 4 years for most good-hearted spiritual people, because not only do you have to come up with the offer and understand it, you've got to understand your customer, you've got to learn marketing, but then you have another obstacle. What is the biggest obstacle you have to overcome as a good-hearted person? It is obviously It's icky to sell. I don't want to sell. I don't believe in myself. Who am I to do this? I don't look good enough. I haven't got the credentials. I'm shy. I've got a limiting belief. I need to do some healing work. All of this good stuff. Layer that on as icing on a really rubbish cake, which is the whole reason we're here, to learn how to love ourselves and to be of service in the world and to teach other people the wisdom that we're acquiring. None of this is a right. It is growth. It is skills. This is what we're learning, okay? So the answer can never be to stop. Oh, it's not working. I'll stop. That's going to help. You're still learning, and every failure is feedback. Successful people don't fail and stop. They fail and go, that was a surprise, but what can I do differently? How else can I try this? What else can I do? And the third point I've said a few times, so we'll tick it off. It's not your right to sell. You've got no right to just turn up and sell. You're competing with very sophisticated people. And I'm not saying this to dishearten you. I'm saying this to help you realise if it hasn't worked and it isn't working, that's okay. Give it longer. Lean in. Learn from the best of the best. Okay, so 3 ideas that you can use to help turn on sales and make a difference. The first one I've already covered, and it is people are going to buy in September. And if you are not getting on their radar now in August and making them aware of you, nurturing that relationship, I'm going to show you how in a second, you're not going to be in the running for sales in September. So disappearing in August is not the answer. If you really, really desperately want to make sales in September, in the month of August, you've got to think about, who's my customer? What am I selling in September? What am I selling in January? And what content can I be sharing? How can I be showing up? What value can I be adding to start nurturing those leads, right? They're leads. It's an awful word, but somebody who's going to buy from you, they're looking at you and you are on their radar. They're studying you. Your job then isn't to sell to them in this moment because it's a moment of awareness. You've actually got to really focus on nurturing that relationship. And in particular, there's 3 things you've got to do with nurturing the relationship. The first one is you've got to show you care. Do you think I care about you winning? Do you think I care about you succeeding? Yes or no? I would say put it in the comments, even if you're watching on the replay. The risk is some of you are going to say no, and that's very harsh. I care deeply. You know I care because I create so much free content. I've got people in a program called Straight Line Through, my big business course, and every single thing I've offered to the market in the last 18 months, apart from my one-to-one coaching, obviously, everything I've offered, any micro course, any webinar, live events, everything, I've given it to them for free. I've said, thank you so much as a member of SLT. It means the world to me that you're here. Don't buy this, it's free. This program, Marketing to Sell, I just gave it to them. The events that I do, the webinars that I do, guys, don't buy this, just come along. You're already a customer. You're already in my world. That's because I'm not just for money, I'm for results. I really care, and it's a big part of my brand, my reputation, my spirit, my heart. So the first thing is you've got to show you care. You show you care with generosity. Generosity of content, generosity of ideas, generosity in helping somebody get a result, whether they pay you or not, in some way, shape or form. And I think in really showing up and answering questions, really thinking about, if I'm going to post today, not how can I sell, but what could I post that would answer a question that somebody has? What could I post that if one person who could be a customer saw it and read it, they would either feel better or I'd be pushing them into action. Every single post I make, it isn't to go viral. I mean, this is probably why I haven't exploded on Instagram yet. It isn't to go viral, and it isn't, for likes and for vanity. I think based on my one-to-one conversations and my group calls, what are people struggling with? What do they need? And that's the content I make. Most of my content I'm scribbling down in client sessions. See what's coming up. That's a theme. I've heard that a few times. Right, that's a video. That's a podcast. That's a live. Today's live is based on stuff that I'm hearing. And I think when you do that, you really show that you care. The second way to nurture relationships is to really add value. So I've probably already started on that point there. Really add value, answer people's questions, teach them something that's going to move their life forward. Like right now, I'm not going, hey guys, I just want you to understand my story. I was in debt and I had depression and then I went running and my whole life changed. Click the link to find out more. I'm telling you something I would tell in a live lecture in Straight Line Through. Just in Straight Line Through, I'd be harsher and a bit more direct because they said I could be. It's part of the T's and C's that they... Imagine, sign up to this and Lisa can be really mean to you on a call. So answer questions, tell them the truth, don't ask them to pay for that. If you help somebody, or if somebody helps you, you read a book that changes your life. You go on a webinar and it actually taught you something. You read a post and you thought, wow, that's really good. I'm actually going to print that off. You read a long copy PDF and it moved you so much. You cried and emailed the person who wrote it and said, this has changed my life. Do you hold that creator in high regard or low regard? Do you trust them, yes or no? Of course you hold them in high regard. Of course you trust them. Of course you're going to then pay more attention to the next thing they send you. If you've read any of my long copy PDFs and you got value from them, and then I sent you another one on a different topic, how much does that increase the chances of you opening it? Same for a webinar, same for training. If you want to sell in 6 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever, you've got to be adding value now to build trust, to build credibility. You're showing you care, you're giving people the answers, and if it's not the answers, you've got to give them hope and guidance. My perspective on sales and marketing is harsh. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm one of the more honest, more harsh people when it comes to what it really takes to build a business, to market and to sell, because the worst thing you can be is disheartened. The worst thing you can be is where you feel you're behind, like, why am I getting it wrong? I should be further ahead than this. No, you shouldn't. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And all of the contrast, if you look at it objectively without emotion, all of the contrast is pointing where you need to lean in. When I work with people, they want to work with me on the things they're good at. And if you're a client of mine, you'll have heard me say this, I'm not going to talk to you about that because you're crushing it. It's a waste of time. We're going to talk about this. And they visibly cringe on the call. I'm like, why did you pay me? You didn't pay me to celebrate what you're good at. You paid me to find the broken link in your funnel and for us to go all in. Because if we can elevate that and everything else is already working and you're already doing it, your results, your life, everything's going to change. So add value, give people hope, give them guidance, give them the answer. The third thing that is critical that people do not do and they wonder why they're not selling, try it and see what happens. Actually explain the offer. So I want you to do this. There's a link in my bio for a new course. This is a funny plug, but there's a link in my bio for a new course I've built called Marketing to Sell. It's 6 lectures and each lecture is an hour long and it tells you how to build a funnel, how to identify your customer, how to make gritty sales right now, what a strategic business looks like, how to change your mindset so that you can actually sell. This program is £99 and because of VAT, each sale to me is worth 85, 86 quid, something like that. Look at that page and look how over the top I've gone on explaining it. There's a video. I've explained what's in each module. There's a video explaining why I've built it. There's bullet points, there's lists, there's curriculum. It's a page for a £99 offer. It's intensely scalable for me because if somebody buys it, doesn't matter if it's 1 or 1,000. So obviously there's that angle. But when I think about I want to sell this remotely without being on a discovery call, you've got to think about all of the emotion you convey in a discovery call, all of the confidence that you convey in a discovery call, all of the explanation you do in a discovery call. You can't think that a sales page has got to be less than that. There's got to be more on the sales page. I think if you look at your sales pages, you've got to ask, have I actually explained the offer? Do I say how people are going to feel at the end of it? Do I talk about the learning outcomes? Do I demonstrate how I'm going to teach this to people? And one of the biggest failures I see on sales pages is people talk about things that they're doing, but they never show that they did that intentionally. So for example, in this program, Marketing to Sell, there's a homework sheet with every single unit. I have done that because if you watch the video and make loads of notes, you will make notes on the things that you like, fact, and you'll make notes on the things you're going to take action on. And I don't care about those. I care about the thing that is going to get you the result. Is that harsh? I care about the thing that will get you the result. In the homework sheet, I am instructing you to do 2 or 3 key activities after each video. If you read the homework sheet, it won't make sense. If you watch the video and then read the homework sheet, you're going to go, oh man, I know why she wants me to do this. I get it. And now I know how. I've explained that on the sales page because it's critical. So if you have a sales page or you're explaining an offer in a webinar and you say something like, guys, they come with worksheets, waste, fail, waste. Why did you make a worksheet? Because courses have worksheets? No, you had a reason for making that worksheet. It was so that you could have a type up and they could take it away and read it. You were directing them to the questions that would actually have an impact. You've got to talk about why you did a thing. In SLT, my big business program, I go live every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Each week I go live. Sometimes I just turn up live and kick people's butt. I'm like, do this, you've got to do this. You're not working hard enough. This is what it takes. Like, pull yourself together. Here's what it takes. Some weeks it's more nurturing and more helpful. Some weeks I'll do a training. Like a couple of weeks ago, I trained people on SEO, how to rank on Google. I've done a 4-part series on how to do Facebook and Instagram ads. I do that every Wednesday because with that program, it's closer to $1,000. If I say to people, just watch the content, it's not enough. I need them to watch the content, and then I need to challenge and push them way more than they're going to push themselves to actually do the work, to do what's involved. And they're going to write a page to the best of their ability, and I'm going to be able to edit that to the best of my ability. So the weekly calls aren't just a join live for community rubbish answer. If I'm going to do a weekly call, I'm going to tell you why I'm going to do that weekly call. So in explaining the offer, there's a couple things. I would think about explaining how someone's going to feel as a result, what the key outcomes are, what differences will they notice, what's going to change in their life or their business. And every single thing you do, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a casual invention. You created it and prioritized it and put your life force energy into it for a reason. The workbook that goes with Straight Line Through, 200 pages, or is it 300? Printed. I swear to God, it took me 6 months of my life to write. It's a book. It's an actual book. It's the business book I'll never print or never get published, but I did print it and I send it to everyone. Of course, I'm going to put pictures of it, B-roll of it, a sample of it. That's how you sell. You show people, you explain the offer, show the value, and show how every single thing you've done, you have done it and curated it so that they can get the outcome. Guys, make those changes in your marketing, in your sales pages, in your webinars. At the end of webinars, people go to do the sell and they fly through the sell because, oh my God, cringe. If somebody got to the end of your 1-hour webinar or 45-minute webinar, they're a customer. They want to know what you've got. And if you then go, oh yeah, so just click the link to find out more, blah, 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 it's just crazy. If they don't want to hear about the offer, they'll just leave the webinar. No big deal. The people who stay and listen to you explaining the offer, dear God, they want the details. Talk them through it. Like, show them bits and pieces. Pull up a screenshot of the PDF or the workshops, like go into the back end of the course, show them it, read some of the testimonials, talk about how passionate you are about how it's updated, explain the offer, actually explain the offer, okay? So let's recap and then I'm going to give you 2 more, and the last one will change your perspective on selling, I swear to God. So stay, if you've stayed this long, stay for this last one, you're going to love it. So the first thing is they're going to buy in September, and if that's the case, they already know who they're going to buy from. That person is already on their radar. Your job in August, or whenever you're listening to this, your job pre-sale is to be on that radar. You get on that radar by adding value or by nurturing the relationship. We do this by showing we care, by showing up, answering questions, by adding value, providing hope, guidance, teaching people, moving them forward, even if they don't pay. And we explain the damn offer. Somebody's got to know what it is and how it's going to work and how it's going to get them a result before they make the investment, okay? Imagine if you spent August doing that. And then in September, you came out with a new webinar, a live workshop, you did a live coffee morning, and each time you were talking about your product and selling it. Is that going to increase or decrease your chances of selling? Versus, I'm going to take August off and I'm going to sell in September. Okay, best of luck with that. Best of luck with that. Ain't going to happen. That's like saying, I'm going to run 100 meters the fastest I ever can in September, so I think I'll take August off. The things don't correlate, okay? So, third thing that I think could really help you to turn on sales in September, but help you to maybe recoup some of those pennies now, would be to create micro offers, speed offers, and community offers. Let me go through them. A micro offer is a tiny version of the big thing that you sell that has a much lower barrier to entry. For me, this marketing to sell course, it's in the background of my computer, this marketing to sell course is basically a micro version of SLT. It is all of the core concepts. It is a high level view of everything I teach in SLT. If you want to know what SLT is like, but you don't want to spend $1,000 and you're a bit like, oh, a bit nervous about that investment, would you spend $99 on the key concepts, on 6 key hours of lectures to get you moving? And if you make sales in that program, following that advice, and you finally get marketing, will it then be easier for you to invest in September? Of course it will. And by the way, anyone who does join Marketing to Sell, the link's in my bio, I'll put it in the comments, you get that money back. If you then join SLT, you can have that £99 towards SLT. What do I care? If you come into SLT, like, that's a huge win. And that's what I mean by my generosity of spirit. I don't need the extra 99. I created the micro course to start teaching, educating, adding value at a much lower price of entry. That's why I've built it. So Micro offer, that's an example of that, something that somebody could buy. Don't make it rubbish. I heard somebody say once, oh, well, they're only paying 99, so I'm not going to make worksheets. And I said to them, wash your mouth out. Disgusting attitude to selling and helping people. It's only 99. If you go over the top and actually make the worksheet and show you care, this is a test run. Show you care, show how good you are, show that you're different from the other people selling courses. Is it going to make it easier or harder for them to invest in the next thing? Of course it's going to make it easier. So just because it's a lower price point, don't cut corners, never cut corners. If somebody pays you their hard-earned money, £99 is a percentage of somebody's money for the month. If they're going to give me that money, I'm going to give them like 10x what they paid. I'm going to give them back in value, okay? I think that program should be 300 and SLT should be 2.5K, but that's a conversation for another day. We're not there yet. Okay, so micro offers, speed offers. Speed offers are things like, guys, I'm going to go live, on Friday for 2 hours. It's a webinar, it's £7. I'm going to teach you this. Guys, I'm doing a tiny group, only 3 people. It's £100 for the month of August. We're going to cover X, Y, Z. Click the link. Things that don't require a lot of pre-work from you. They're fast, they're quick, but they've got to add value. You can charge for those. They're called paid lead magnets, paid freebies, micro courses, micro programs. What happens there is you're bringing interested customers to the front of the room, and now you're not selling to them. You're creating transformation for them. They've paid, they're engaged. It's much easier for you to then upsell, cross-sell, and not in a weird way. I just mean it's easier for you to show the value and for somebody to make that next decision. So micro offers, speed offers. The other thing I think you can do is really small community-based things. So this idea of, instead of going, guys, I'm going live and I'm going to do this lecture, this webinar, and it's, as many people as I can get. What if you emailed your list, or you went live on social and for 3 days you promoted something and you said, guys, I'm going to do this lecture on Friday, 9 a.m. and I'm going to tell you the truth about writing a book proposal, changing your body, falling in love with yourself, changing a subconscious belief. The catch is only 5 people can join. It's not recorded. I'm going to teach you the stuff. And at the end of it, there'll be a chance for all of you to share your learnings with the group, ask questions, and I'm going to do a 15-minute call with each of you to see if there's anything individually that came up. If you're not selling, thinking, oh, Lisa, that just feels like a lot of work, for a small amount of customers, what's the alternative? You've got to get into groups and in front of people where you're solving problems for real people in real time. If you can solve a problem for a person in a group call, one-to-one, in a lecture, in a webinar, if you could solve a problem really for a person and really get into the crux of what they need, like, mark my words, who says that? Mark my words, you'll be able to solve a problem for more people at scale. So there's nothing wrong with doing tiny things, group things, community-based things that will help get you in front of more people. Okay, here's the last thing I'm going to show you, and I think this is going to change your perspective on marketing and selling. So it's good to keep it to the end because it's a little reward for those of you who stayed to the end of this live YouTube video or podcast. Let me know how you heard this. Email me, lisa@daretogrow.co.uk. Okay, this is called the 100 sales attempts, and I am so cheeky with my clients. We're going to do this in SLT next week. This is a piece of paper, and on the top of the piece of paper, it says 100 sales attempts. Down the side, I've got ads, reels, stories, carousels. You don't need to remember these. It's just all the ways you would tell people about your offer. Affiliate emails. I've been in groups before where someone said, Lisa, what have you got they can buy? I can email those people and say, here's this new micro course. Emails, going live, YouTube, podcasts, Facebook posts, live events, any way that you would tell people about the offer and pitch for the sell. So I've got this piece of paper on my wall because I've just launched this micro course, which is how to market your business to sell. These 6 core lectures, like, funnel marketing, gritty selling, strategic selling, basically a lot of what I'm telling you now, but process, in depth. And in fact, that's not a fair assessment of it because it's who's the customer? How do you find the kernel of the core idea of what they want? I am not going to judge whether that course has been a success until I've made 100 attempts to sell it. And this will put everything in perspective for you. If you've got a program, coaching, training, anything, and you're going to attempt to sell it, and I say to you, and you go, oh, it didn't work, and I go, well, how many times have you tried to sell it? I'm always trying to sell it. No, but specifically, how many stories did you do explaining the offer with a link to buy? How many emails did you send where it wasn't buried in the footnotes or like a little comment in passing? The whole email was dedicated to what the benefits are, why get it. How many ads have you attempted? Tell me when you did a YouTube or a podcast where you were adding value and you kept talking about the program and, you know, raising excitement and interest about the program. How many carousels have you made? When did you go live and talk about it? If you say to me, do you know what, Lisa, when I think about it, yeah, probably 6, maybe 10. If you're starting to get up to 25 and you've made no sales, then I really want to talk to you about who's your customer, what's the offer, how are you positioning it, something isn't quite right. If you get to 100 sales or 100 sales attempts, do you think after 100 in combination, emails, ads, posts, graphics, you know, Facebook Live, podcast, is it more or less likely you're going to have made a sale? I don't think you can assess the success of a sales launch until you've made 100 attempts to sell it. I think there should be, you know, 8 to 10 emails minimum going out. And I think if people click the link, you can see this in email platforms. If they click the link and go on the page, those people are interested. They can have more emails than a generic list who never opened it. So you can segment your list as well. If you put it on your stories every day and for a week and it's a big launch and every week you feature a different element of the course, I'm going to do that for this program. Every week you talk about a different element and you put a little snippet in or a little clip. If you have a carousel and you pin it to the top of your profile, if you go live and turn it into 3 bits of content and post it on all of your platforms, 1, you're dramatically increasing the chance that people are going to hear about it in the first place. 2, you're increasing the chance they're going to get it and understand it. And 3, you're increasing the chance that people, I was going to say give in the fact where they go, God, yeah, that does sound good. Go on then, I'll have it. Until you get to 100 sales attempts, I don't think you can say it hasn't worked. You haven't made any progress. Like the selling, the offer, it doesn't work. But what I would say is, if you've done 10 attempts, 25 attempts, and it isn't working, like I sent an email and I didn't get the response I expected. So I went back and I thought something's wrong. I changed the headline on the page, I changed the outcomes. Every time I do something and I send an email or run an ad, I assess it. How many likes did it get? How much of the video did somebody watch? How much did they listen to? What inquiries did I get? And it's feedback to me all of the time. And I'm not ashamed to say, what questions have you got? What don't you understand? What would you like to know? And that is how I'm getting better and better and better and like tuning into a micro degree of what people want and what would help them to sell. So I would recommend making a page like this, putting it on your wall and not assessing and not being cruel or harsh to yourself until you've made 100 attempts to sell the thing. And to be clear, I'm going to make 100 attempts to sell this micro course, which is online marketing, basically what it takes to sell, who's the customer, like how do I position the offer, how do I show credibility in the market, how do I make gritty sales, what does strategic sales look like. 100 attempts at that is going to get me my customer base who would then be the most likely people to upgrade to SLT. So I'm going to go out cold and try and get new people for SLT. I'm going to go out cold and try and get new people for this. But for me, all of the nurturing I'm about to do over the summer will absolutely position the success I have in the final quarter of the year, even going in to the start of the new year. But come the new year, there'll be a new idea, new angle, new position, and off I go. That is online sales and marketing, and I don't think enough people are telling you the truth of just how gritty you have to be. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please leave a comment or send me a DM, send me a voice note. I'll reply, or send me a little email, lisa@daretogrow.co.uk. And thank you for your attention. I hope this has helped you go and get to work. You know what I mean? See you later, guys.